Okay, so Don's party, getting ready for a movie. Slang. Slut, well, pretty strong term, negative, isn't it, for a woman who's sexually loose, will sleep with anyone. Yeah, that's right, yeah. Bitch has other sorts of meanings too. Bitch means somebody who's nasty. Oh, she's a real bitch. That means she's nasty. Most insults, I don't know if it's the same in your native culture, but I figured out a while ago, most sort of slang insults fall into two categories. They either say that you're nasty, or you're stupid. And most things fall into those categories. I guess there's the sexual one too, slut, which is a bit different, yeah, sexual. So, bitch, very much here. Slut is here. You know, if you call someone a slut, you don't mean they're nasty at all. It doesn't have anything to do with it. But bitch, which is a similar meaning. So bitch can sit there as well.
Not a nice person is a slut.
Well,
it depends.
Yeah, I mean, some people don't care. You know, it depends on your sexual philosophy. Like, I don't care, it doesn't worry me. If people sleep around, it's not a problem for me. So I never use the word. It's a very sexist word. There is no male equivalent. You can try in the language, you won't find one. The guy who sleeps around is sort of a hero. Yeah? Woman who sleeps around is trash. You know, that's the sexism of the last, you know, since the agricultural revolution, which was the, as Engels said, the historic defeat of the female sex. Because ladies, were you aware before agriculture, women controlled the economy? Most property was handed down through women. Most men went to women's families when they connected. There was a period during what we call horticulture, which is gardening. So you have hunter-gatherer society, like Aboriginal people, then you have gardening, and then you have agriculture. Agriculture, I'll quickly go through this because it's good for critical thinking and it's relevant to, you know, people doing Germaine Greer or anything on feminism. And it's good for your consciousness. Most archaeological evidence actually is consistent with this notion. In hunter-gatherer society, like Aboriginal society, men and women are roughly equal. They're very separate and different, like we saw that art, men's art, women's art. But there's no real fundamental power difference. They have different decision-making. Women have sticks. Think of the Aboriginal women and their baskets. Yep, they have sticks, they dig, they collect roots and all sorts of things, little insects, whatever, honey. The men hunt. Okay, as technology develops, those sticks get more complex, and as people learn that you can gather seeds and you can actually plant them in the ground and use, the stick becomes an instrument for digging out weeds and for digging generally, and it gets more complex, and eventually you get this instrument, the hoe. You know, it's a bit like a rake, kind of just with three things like that. Or sometimes it'd be like a little spade, whatever. But the hoe is before the plough. Now, who controls the hoe? It's women. Because food collecting of vegetable matter has been their area. Men are hunting meat, you know, kangaroos or horses or elephants or whatever, you know. This is the thing that produces the most food in this period of what we call horticulture. Horta, with an A, means garden. So it comes from Latin. Horticulture is gardening. So before it gets big scale, like you're planting wheat and corn and things, the period is that. So you go from hunter-gatherer to horticulture to agriculture. And that's roughly 8,000 years ago, you know, in the first case. It's not the same across the world, but roughly this period. In this period, sort of, well, 8 to 12,000 BC, yeah. Sorry, BP, before present. So, in this period, women dominate economic production. And when anybody dominates economics, they are the dominant class. And if you have a look at the art in this period, the art, the statues, they're women with very big breasts and swollen stomach, big bums. They represent fertility. And most of the religions are female-centred. Property is passed down through women, and men marry into women's families. Women were dominant. So it goes from equal to women dominant, and then what happens here is men become dominant. Why? Because in this period, a few things. The plough is one of those things, and herding animals. These two things, the domestication of plants and the cropping, and the domestication of animals, cattle, sheep, and so on. Now, to do these things, basically it's an evolution of this to a plough, big heavy instrument, pushing it through acres. Now, women are constantly bearing children. They've either got a baby here, or they've got a baby here at the breast. They can do that. You can hoe small areas while you do that. That's not a problem. You can't do it here when you're ploughing. And when you're herding, it's very mobile. You're looking after sheep, there are no fences, no cattle, you've got to be moving. Mobility does not suit women, it suits men. So there's a big revolution here where men get control of the economy and the economic production. And then you see a change, and you see a change in religion, and you see a change in the property line, and you see a change in the pattern of marriage. It all becomes what we see today. I think that's pretty important because what it says is gender, and what we think about gender and equality, is economically constructed and socially constructed. It's not some sort of innate, how would we explain this? Birth. Natural, something's born. Nation, where you're born. Innate, it's born into you. So, male superiority or female inferiority is not born into anyone. It's just, what happens is the economy changes, and then when economies change, beliefs change. And beliefs change to justify and continue the economic mode of production. Yeah. So it's quite I found when I came across this, quite a challenging notion. Ultimately, it goes back, if you want to read about it, Engels, the origin of private property, family, and the state. All those things happened at the same time. Private property, the family as we know it, dominated by men, and the state. This is where class emerges for the first time, because it's where surplus gets produced, and then people fight over the surplus. This produces powerful families and weak families. You start to get class. So class and the oppression of women, and a group of armed people at the service of the rulers, the state, the military and the police. These all appear at this time. And we presume they're natural because we live in this from birth, but these things are not, and it's pretty important to know. Anyway, obviously all of that, bit of history there, affects our language. We have no equivalent. The sexism that's been going for 8,000 years, very deep in the language, and yet we have no male equivalents to these terms. So the devaluation of women that occurred back here is reflected in the language in the 21st century. Yeah, so there we go. I hope the next word won't take quite so long.
What slut means nothing very nice.
No, it's a negative term, it's an insult, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
It also means lazy woman.
Not really lazy. Somebody might say, oh, you lazy slut, it's a collocation. Yeah. But in itself, no, it's reference to sexual behaviour. Yeah. You throw the party, it's just a collocation, you organise, you have a party, you host a party. It's like, I suppose you throw invitations out or something, I'm not really sure why throw.
Running a party.
Yeah. Pretty common, hosting a party. An oath, okay, if we look at our pattern here, definitely oath is like an idiot, and it fits in here. Kind of insensitive, idiot. With a kind of emphasis on being insensitive, not really noticing things about people. Boorish is kind of pushing yourself in on top of other people, like people who talk about themselves, or they dominate a conversation and just talk and people get sick of it, but they talk and they occupy personal space. They kind of push in, They're full of themselves, and they don't notice other people's sort of rights or sensitivities.
Very active.
Yeah. In a group, they will tend to dominate the group, even if the group's quite sick of them. That's a boorish person. Loud mouth, talk. And oath, insensitive and stupid. Yeah, somebody accuses most people at the party of being boorish, loudmouth oaths. Permissive, anything's permitted. A permissive society, think of pre-1960s and post-1960s and 70s. Big change in social behaviour. The hippies come along and say everything's permitted.
Peaceful.
But also, sexually anything's permitted. Language. If you look at language, people start swearing a lot more. Generally the old conservative rules were collapsing.
More soft.
And it just means everything's permitted. It can be sexual, it can be drugs and different kinds of drugs, any kind of behaviour, going and living in groups, young people going and living in share houses that hadn't happened before, doing anything, that's all permissive society. Okay, the DLP, the Democratic Labour Party. How'd you go? Did you guess it? A very important party, almost non-existent today in Australia. They are... The Australian Labour Party was the first Australian political party. In the 1950s, it split. In the right wing of it, which was very Catholic, and you think of the Pope and, he's very anti-communist. In the Cold War, there were very, very strong campaigns by the Catholic Church to reject communism, and they accused a lot of the Labour Party of being socialist and communist, and they split off. Funded by the CIA and various American instruments who wanted to split labour movements around the world. Australia was just one of them. And they split off, and that's what stopped the Labour Party getting into power for 23 years, through the 50s and 60s. And this party is set in 1969, when there's the election. And it looks like Labour are going to win for the first time in many years, in 20 years. One of the guys says, my dad was in the DLP, who was one of the last great Catholic, so he's Catholic. So the DLP were working class labourers. They were often into unions, but right-wing unions, or kind of yellow unions. And they ended up giving their second preference vote to the Liberals rather than giving to Labor, and that's what kept Labor out of power. Shag means to have sex. It's pretty much a British term, but it's here, it's in Australia a bit. A shag is somebody who has sex, so he's just saying his dad was very sexually active and he was in the DLP. But shag, it's useful slang to know.
If you want to have one meaning, less of the great Catholic to have sex,
one of the great Catholic, one of the last great Catholic shaggers, yeah, he was one, yeah, kind of. He was one of the last great Catholic people, guys who had a lot of sex, yeah. Don't crap to me. Crap means like here, bullshit. If you say, oh, that's crap, it means it's untrue. And you don't crap to me, don't lie. Yeah. So as a verb, here, lie. Okay, there's crap. Turd means the same thing, crap. Turd, piece of shit. That's why I've said, be careful when you say third. If your becomes a t, then you end up with turd. Yeah, and it's very easy to say, and I hear it all the time in class. People say turd, turd. Oh, the turd question. It's not that bad, is it? Come on. So, who here says a t instead of a f? Nancy and James, you'll say a s, won't you? You won't have this problem. But Marley will. If you say f, you tend to say, you might say a t. Yeah, so Persians have to be worried about it. I think most Asian languages will go to a s. Is that right? If you say third, you'll say s. If you say it wrongly, you say sir. You don't make this particular error. But Europeans and more Indo-European speakers, Persians, will say t, and you don't be worried, concerned about it. Be careful.
It's not right.
That's it, beautiful. Keep saying that. Good. I'm not saying you will make a mistake. I'm saying if you come to that language, there's a danger, and you've overcome it. That's great. Yeah, keep your nice, clear. Shit kicker is someone who does a very low job. They're kicking shit all day. Yeah. So shit kicker, and his name, that's just the person's name, Cooley. So somebody doing a very low-level job, boring, tough work, you're a shit kicker. You know, you're the lowest person in the ladder, and people pass all the orders down to you, the shit kicker at the bottom. Pinko. Anybody guess pinko?
Communist.
Communist, yeah. Really not quite a communist, a kind of left. A communist would be a red, but it's a shade, a sort of lighter shade of red. So maybe a socialist or a left Labour Party kind of person. Tilhani, would you mind just going over with an arm until we form a group? Thanks. Yeah, so if someone's a pinko, they're left of centre. That's what it means. A pinko. Because, okay, the colours of the political spectrum. On the left, red.
But communists usually use red.
Yeah.
Not pink.
No, that's right. So that's what I'm saying. But hang on.
Let me maybe guess the pink related to the feminist.
Okay. No, okay. Feminist colours are
Rainbow.
purple. Purple. Yeah. Yeah. Purple and green sometimes combination, but purple. Yeah. Gay, rainbow. Okay, if you're sort of about gay rights, the rainbow is representative of gay rights. Now, the right wing colour is what? What's the opposite of red on the spectrum? Kind of. Red, orange, yellow, blue, green, indigo, violet. We're heading towards the blue. It's blue. Alright, yeah. So if you've got blue blood, you come from the ruling class. You come from a very wealthy family, blue blood. Yeah. However, in Australia, if somebody says true blue, that's different. That's true blue Australian, born here. Personally, I consider that remark to be a right-wing remark anyway. It's what the Reclaim Australia and the racists will say, you know, I'm true blue, I'm born here, you're not, kind of thing. So it is actually a right-wing kind of.
The red and blue, the colours, does it only apply in Australia?
All those colours, yeah, these are pretty much international. You know, if you went to France and talked
They
about...
have different meaning in America. So if you're wearing a red colour in
Yes.
certain part of America, it's considered as blood, and blue is considered as crip.
Is
So-
considered as what?
Bloods and crip.
Bloods and
Crip.
Crip?
Yeah.
What's that mean?
A famous American gang.
Oh, okay. All right. If you're talking about gangs, I don't know, but we're talking about politics. All right.
Yeah.
It's a different universe. So, okay. However, in America, there is a reversal when you look at election results. The Democrats and the Republicans are kind of got the colours the other way around. So, if when Obama goes up for election, is it next year? And they do all the states and they show the colours of who voted what, you'll see the Democrats are marked as blue and the Republicans are marked as red. Kind of strange. It's the reverse. However, even in America, in normal political speech about socialism and so on, communism, they'll still talk about red. And the workers might march down the street with a red flag, still in the US. Okay? Red is associated strongly with the left. So the point is, pinko is kind of some way towards red. So it just means left of centre.
So what's the meaning of the colours in politics? Like, well, what kind of idea? Does it mean that...
Why is it those colours?
Then I mean, like, what's the meaning behind, colours behind politics? What's the actual meaning of it? Like, how come, let's say it's identified by colours, like, for example, right wing are blue and left wing are red.
Yeah, so why? Why is it those colours?
No, I mean, like, how can they have a colour behind them? What's the reason of the...
I would say it would go back to, look, pretty much any group has a symbol.
It's
right?
like a symbol.
And then there's about colours. If we go back into feudal times, different groups have flags of different colours. Chinese warlords and Japanese warlords, whatever, Korean probably too, have flags with symbols, don't they? They go into war with it, and there are certain colours associated. It would just, that the reason would be metaphorical. Red is the colour of passion and energy and resistance and rebellion. It's kind of associated with that. Blue tends to be cool, about keeping the established order, and stability. So over time, it just evolved in that place. I don't know the historical details of it, but you can see the kind of metaphorical logic behind the colour.
Alright, the colours, just let's say if a specific party referred to that colour, would they dress as that colour, or they would just use that colour as a symbol?
It depends on the party, to what degree they use uniforms and colours and so on. Certainly, if you go far left, a lot of people use red. Certainly red flags, red shirts, etc. The red shirts in Thailand, they do use shirts. They're on the left, definitely. So it'll just depend kind of on national, experience and characteristics to what extent they use it.
Maybe the colour for the baby boy, they use blue instead.
That's true. And before about the 1920s and 30s, it was the other way around. Red and pink was associated with boys because, again, kind of this stereotype idea of boys have more energy and girls are more passive, and they were associated with blue and boys with red. And then it reversed. Can't remember the reason for the reversal, but if you look back, historically it was the other way around. It's kind of strange. Okay, other political colours. Green, of course, is pretty self-evident, isn't it? Green, plants are green, environmentalism. Yeah, those are your main colours. Always going on about, always talking. If you go on about something, it means too much, talking too much, going on and on and on. She was going on and on and on about her boyfriend. On and on and on.
I'm talking about
Yeah. Let's face reality. The it is reality. So when you say let's face it to somebody, it means, look, acknowledge or recognise reality, which there's something difficult about that reality. Let's face it, you're not going to pass, or let's face it, you're not going to get that job. It's a negative thing that you have to face in reality.
That's wait for the result.
It's not about waiting necessarily, it's just about your situation, something in reality that you've got to recognise that's negative. Let's face it, not just a connotation. Stuff we were talking about before, it's like fuck, but it's softer. So if someone said, oh, fuck my degree, that's the strong form. But stuff, you know, same thing, like, just, it's rubbish, you know, they're rejecting it.
Or can we say looking down to my degree or bring me down with my degree?
We can say stuff or fuck about a whole lot of things. If you say, oh, stuff you, it's like,
Is that an insult?
it's like damn you. Think of damn. You know, damn you, stuff you, fuck you, they're all getting increasingly strong. And you can say it about anything. You can say, damn this computer, stuff this computer, fuck this computer. You know, it's a rejection. It's rejecting. And same with the degree here.
So when we talk about the things, sometimes we use people talking about stuff.
Yeah, now stuffs you can never have. That's just a common error. Stuff is, when we're talking about as a noun, you can never do that because it's now uncountable. Common error.
Oh,
So stuff is just anything, isn't it? Any substance, any item,
Yeah.
stuff.
yeah,
Oh, he's got so much stuff in his house he can't walk in the door.
we can use it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
but that's got a totally non-swearing meaning. It's a very neutral word. That's not, that as a noun, that's a noun.
Yeah.
As the verb, it's got this other meaning.
I think I learned before I'm stuffed, like I'm full.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm stuffed means I'm full. Yeah. Or, you know, you can stuff a suitcase. You know, you're travelling back to your native country and, you know, you got the full suitcase and you got 3 more socks to get in. Stuffing. Stuff full. Pressing. That's where the metaphor for sex comes from. That, you know, that pressure.
Stuff never means tired.
Yes, I'm stuffed. I'm exhausted.
What did you say about eating? I'm full.
Yeah, it can mean 2 things. You just got to look at the person, what do they do? They go, oh, I'm stuffed. It means I'm tired. Or, oh, I'm stuffed. I'm full. Or maybe they do both. Oh, then they mean both. Rather nice little drop. They're talking about wine. Wine and only wine. It's no other drink. It's not Scotch. Oh, you could, you know, I guess an expert, you know, in Scotch whiskies, and there's sort of 7 Scotches, and they're trying anything where it's really distinctive taste, and they're being very careful and tasting it. Oh, that's a rather nice little drop. But usually about wine. And of course in South Australia, lots of it. And so it's pretty common that people try different wines and talk about it. And, you know.
Can I use this either white and red?
Yeah, doesn't matter. And like this term, more general term, a buff. A buff is like somebody who's really interested in something and they've done it for a long time and they're quite an expert. And it's like their passion. So get some wine buffs together and they'll all kind of, you know, try the wine and say, oh, that's a nice little drop. But this buff, you can use a history buff, a literature buff. Buff, I don't know. Buff means to polish something and make it really shiny. Like, you know, a silver thing and you buff it, really shines. So I guess if you make it really perfect and you really, you know, look after it and are very fussy, and, you know, you make something perfect. So these people are looking for the perfect wine. High standards, I suppose. Okay, it wasn't all roses. It wasn't all perfect. We have another expression. You look at the world through rose-coloured glasses, so everything looks red and pink and sort of beautiful. And that means a person who looks at the world and they see it as too positive. They're not recognising some of the dirt in the world, you know, the tough bits, rose-coloured glasses. But here, same kind of idea. It wasn't all perfect, it wasn't all beautiful. Somebody's there talking about the past and saying, oh, wasn't it wonderful, da, da, da. And somebody says, no, it wasn't all roses. I was buggered, if I was going to do something. I was buggered if it means they just don't want to do it. They're refusing. I'm buggered if I'm going to do it. You can use it in the present tense. I'm buggered if I'm going to do what my boss says. It's just the wrong thing to do. Now, bugger here means, again, like fucked or bugger, same thing. It's got that meaning, but it's soft. As I've mentioned, bugger is not strong. A prude, from the word